Good morning, everybody. Outdoors today, and I wanted to talk about how to sand your plasters. Some of you may have rubber molds where you make plasters, and today I'm just doing two that are not portraits. They're not specific people. They're more, universal, okay? So first thing you want to do is make your cast, and I would let it dry for a couple days at least. And if you put it in a warm environment or in the sun or have some convection like an overhead fan going, that will really help get the water out of the sculpture. You'll find that it's very hard to sand something when it's wet. It just won't work. It'll gum up the sandpaper. The first thing I do is I use a Dremel tool to get rid of the big chunks that I want off, like let's say on the seam, or if you have a pipe sticking out, you know, that big knob, you just want to get it off quickly. Use a Dremel tool. You can get these at Home Depot, and they're nothing to be afraid of. This is a heavy duty one. You can get a lighter duty one. So that's the first step. You can do that when the plaster's wet. Now, if you have some bubbles, let's say on your sculpture you have some negative bubbles that you need to fill. I've found that instead of using plaster, it's much easier to use, drywall spackle. Okay. Again, it's sandable and it's already mixed. Okay. And amazingly, it's pretty much the same color as the plaster. So I would just recommend getting a little tub of this, and you can use your finger or a tool and just fill those little bubbles, okay? And overfill them so you can sand them. Now, for the first step of sanding, again talking about drywall, I like these fine drywall screens, and these are made for sanding drywall. What I do is I take a scissors and cut some little strips like this. And this is a great way to start your rough sanding. I've already done a lot of sanding on this one. So I got rid of the seam, but I can see, like, in here, there's an edge that I don't like. So that would be an instance where I would use the drywall screen first to get rid of that edge. And it's better to lay it down, and maybe I'll do it like this if I'm between the legs. Here's kind of an awkward thing that's sticking out. So again, this is good for big rough sanding. You would not want to use this on a portrait. Here you can kind of see where that seam was originally, and I've already kind of sanded it down. Now I wouldn't want to use this on something detail-y, like a nose, an eye, or a breast. So for something like that, something finer, I would take a piece of sandpaper, and these are really cool to have, some kind of brush. See how that you can reuse your sandpaper? A lot of people they'll sand. Sandpaper gets gunked up and they just throw it away. They think they have to get more, but really all you need to do is clean your sandpaper off with a brush. So like here, I can see some nasty marks I want to get rid of. I'm going to use that fine sandpaper. And when I say fine, let's see, this is very fine. This is 220. The one I'm using here is probably medium grade. But I'll switch over to this at the end. And it's amazing that the finish you can get on a plaster is unique. It's different than a resin. I don't know, plaster has a very organic effect. The light goes into it and comes back out of it. So it can have kind of the look of stone. And another thing I like to do is move move the plaster into the sun. Let's see if I can do this. Yeah, see, that's good, because then I can kind of see, I can see how soft my edges are and how hard my edges are. So like for instance, I'd want on that ASIS to have a little harder edge than, let's say, down here at the fat pad, right? So I can be more confident about softening this edge and be a little more careful on the bone. Again, this side, this is all very soft, right? This is the passive side of the body. So all of this can be sort of let go a little bit. Oh, sorry about the noise. So I would say even sanding a plaster, which might sound kind of, I don't know, sounds kind of utilitarian or craftsman-like. I would say you can still be sculpting in this stage. And certainly the artists in the past would have a plaster before they go to the bronze. That's a tradition that's a little bit lost, but you'll still find some purists who do that still. Certainly stone carvers will insist on that. I was talking to Fred Brownstein, and he's a stone carver, and he always makes a plaster cast before he makes his stone carving. And there's a practical purpose to that he will be measuring from a plaster to make his stone, and he doesn't like measuring off of a soft clay. He likes it has to be rigid. Okay, so I don't want to get off on a tangent on that, but hopefully this gave you some confidence about sanding a plaster. It's got to be relatively dry. I mean, this one's not totally dry, but had I tried to sand this right when I popped it out of the mold, it would have been impossible. Okay, so you have to get it kind of dry. You can put, if it's wintertime, it's harder. You can put a box fan on it overnight. You could put it in a really hot room or next to your wood stove. But as plasters dry, they get lighter and lighter and drier and drier. So, all right, so good luck with your plasters. It's an affordable medium to cast in, and it's quite beautiful when you get it right.